Hey guys, James with Torches and Tactical, and before I get into the video at all, I just want to tell you guys right now that you have a chance to win either the black or an orange TS11. So stick around, watch the entire video, and I'm going to let you guys know exactly what you need to do, but I'm going to splice it in somewhere after the fact. That way you guys know exactly what you need to do. So that being said, this is the Wurkkos TS11. Now this is an unusually shaped light, but that is because it has a very specific purpose in mind. And that purpose is throw. And boy howdy does it do that. So this uses an SFT-40 LED and shines 2000 lumens all the way out to 616 meters. Now, a lot of throw isn't the only party trick up its sleeve because it does offer Anduril 2 as well, and that's going to let you have not only RGB auxiliaries, but RGB in the switch as well. So in addition to the countless modes, stepless, stepped, all the different flashing modes, as well as the customization of Anduril 2, you do also get a lot of fun color. Now, this isn't the only one that does it. Yes, this does have it as well. Real fast, let's do a battle of the blinkies, shall we? Which one wore it better? You tell me. Anyways, moving back into the lights. This is powered by an 18350 cell. This is Wurkkos branded. It gives you 1100 milliamp hours. So it's not the largest thing in the world, but one really nice thing about pretty much all Wurkkos lights is they do Lego together very well. And what that means is if we grab another 18650 light from Wurkkos, we can move it down here and extend that 18350 all the way out to 18650. Now you can do this at your heart's content and everything still works. But today we're going to talk about it in the 18350 guise. So getting back into the specifications of the light. Now this whole light is 89 millimeters long, again with the 18350 tube. In addition to that, it does have a head diameter of 40 millimeters. So that means that it's small size with the 6061 aluminum. Without the battery, this thing only weighs in at 89 grams. Now, when I took it apart, you did see those O-ring seals, so that's going to tell you right there that it does have pretty good water resistance rating, and here it is IP68, so that means you can use it in any environment you might need. So let's dig into the packaging real fast. Now, you can see that the box does come with this sleeve, lets you know that the TS11 does give you 2000 lumens and throws for 616 meters. But on the back, it'll give you a short description about it, letting you know that it does have the SFT-40 LED, as well as 6 RGB auxiliary LEDs. Now that obviously is not including the ones inside the switch. But with that Anduril, it does give you things like low voltage protection, advanced temperature regulation, and a low battery warning level. So here we can see that on H8 or turbo mode, if you will, this will give you 2000 lumens and illuminate for 48 minutes, and that's pretty good considering the output and that small cell. But if you bring it down to A1 or your moonlight mode, it will shine 1 lumen for 13 days. So all in, I think that's pretty decent. But let's get the sleeve out of the way and look in the box. So when you take the sleeve off, you do see up front that it is the TS11 black SFT-40. That SFT-40 is a 6500K LED, and this is the set, meaning that it does include the battery. So for about $1.50 less, you can get this without the battery. But if we continue looking at the package, you will see that there are some magnetic clasps, and that's going to make sure that even without that sleeve, that nothing's going to rattle around. So we open it up. You do see the Wurkkos sleeve here. That's going to let you know that it does have an insulator. And if there are issues, the best thing to do is just to give both the head and the tail cap a little bit of a tighten. Underneath that, we can see that it does have a TS11 user manual. Now, one nice thing about the user manual, if you haven't used Anduril before, it gives you a pretty large diagram. Now I'd say this is probably about 4.5 by 6 inches. That's what this diagram is. It lets you know how to walk through that simple UI, how to change it to advanced, and then how to use all of the features included in that. So let's set that aside, and you'll see also an accessories package. And inside that accessories package, with a lot of other Wurkkos items, you get your lanyard, as well as a few spare O-rings. Now these O-rings are actually quite a bit larger than a lot of the other ones I've seen. When I say larger, I do mean thicker. As well as a USB-C cable. Now I have countless USB-C cables, so I never got this one out. But it is USB-A to USB-C. That way you can keep that 18350 charged up and topped off at all times. Finally, you can see that in the packaging, it has a very, very stiff microcell foam. And when the TS11 is in place, it's not going to rattle around at all. Now keep in mind here, you will have that accessories package, but it's not going to rattle around at all. And I like the fact that they've moved over to this microcell foam, as well as this magnetic clasp packaging. I think it's done really well, and I think it was necessary. So let's get the packaging all out of the way. Now focusing on the body of the TS11, well, I mean, let's be honest, the black doesn't really show it as well, so let me move over to the orange for this part. Now I have to say that the Wurkkos TS11 is probably one of my favorite designs of a flashlight in recent years from Wurkkos. And I have to say that because it still holds a very industrial look. Now this is almost kind of machined for grip. You have some ridges here that kind of match along with the cooling fins in both the head and the neck of the light. And I mean, whether or not it has the RGB lights inside of it, I think that having the large switch so you can operate this very, very easily is a fantastic choice on their part. Now, if I'm being frank, I would have loved to see a battery tube similar to this on the TS10 as well. Now moving up from the TS10, you can see that the TS11 is quite a bit larger than this, but still fits in the palm of my hands, is a very small light. So let's start at the tail cap and go over this entire body. So you do see here, it has a lanyard hole, so you can hold the TS11 in place or attach it to your wrist with the lanyard that's included. I like the machining on the tail cap here. This is going to give you a pentagonal machine set, and it's going to give you a lot of grip when you have to take that tail cap off in order to swap out the battery. Now, if we zoom in here on the threads, you can see these are very thick and very square cut. That's going to make sure that you don't have any issues when tightening that tail cap back down. And you saw that large, thick O-ring too. That helps with that IP66 water resistance rating. If we do break it down even further, you can see that this battery tube is considerably smaller than anything else that they have out there right now. Now this battery tube does literally disappear in my hand. And this is compatible with the FC11 and FC12 battery tubes like I was saying. This has the same square machining, so it does fit ambidextrous on the TS11. If we focus on the springs in the battery compartment though, on the tail cap as well, you can see that they are large gold-plated springs, and they're not the thickest things that I've ever dealt with, but since they are on top and bottom, that is going to give you quite a bit of stability. And you can see the driver board in here as well. And that comes with a couple flashing pads too, if you ever need to update the Anduril software on this. So moving again to the neck of the light, we do have that very, very large switch. Now I did disengage the tail cap just so it's not flashing while going over everything. But it does have a very large switch, and this is a big improvement over the previous switches they've been using. It does have large cooling fins that wrap around the remainder of the neck, except for here where it does have the USB-C port. Now, you can use that USB-C cable that came included, or if you have a standalone charger, it does open up. Neither of these sections is glued, so you can throw that battery on a regular charger as well. Putting that back in, we move up towards the head. More of those cooling fins are present here, and these ones actually are quite a bit thicker. I don't know if you can see exactly how thick those are. If we compare them to the ones on the neck, the head is quite a bit deeper. But it does have some room since it does have a very large TIR optic on the business end, so to speak. And that TIR means total internal reflectance, meaning it's going to take all that light and direct it out. So TIRs are fantastic, depending on how they're manufactured, of course, are fantastic for getting a lot of throw out of a light. Now, the SFT-40 is no slouch in the throw department. As a matter of fact, a couple of my friends, it's their favorite choice for a throwing LED, especially one that operates on 3 volts. But it does have that large diffused core, so you're not getting a very clear show of that LED. And if I can take this off, we can remove the glass lens to help keep things protected, which is O-ring sealed, by the way. And having the TIR optic out, we can see everything in its glory. So the SFT-40 right up front and center, as well as the 6 RGB LEDs. But just looking at the depth of this TIR reflector, I mean, you can see exactly why something so small gets out to 616 meters. So let's go ahead and put this back in, being sure not to touch anything and leaving fingerprints. All right, there we go. Smudge free is the way to be. Now, if we do go over this user interface, I'm not going to touch on everything just because there are so many options from the Anduril software. But just to touch on a few, you can turn the light on with a single press. If you do a double tap, it will go to turbo. And another press after that will shut it off. You can do a 3H or press 3 times and hold on that 3rd time, and that will move over to your blinky modes. 1, 2, 3. All right, and it's starting off in candle mode. Now you can press twice, and that will cycle through different options. Now this is your bike flasher. 2 more clicks will move over to party strobe. 2 more will move over to a tactical strobe. 2 more clicks will move over to lightning. And then another 2 clicks will bring you back to candle mode. From here you can do a press and hold, and that will increase the brightness, or a double press and hold will decrease the brightness. So if you want to set the mood, you can do so with your Anduril 2 flashlights. Alright guys, all I need you to do for this giveaway is to tell me when Wurkkos has been that light when you had no other light before. Now, I'm not talking about just a normal everyday carry, but when there was an emergency and you really needed a light, and Wurkkos was there to give you that. So leave that down in the comments below, and that will be your entry into this giveaway for the TS11. Now, I will be doing a full breakdown of the Anduril software here shortly, and I'll get those videos out to you guys soon. So keep an eye on the channel. That way you can figure out exactly how to use every aspect of Anduril. So now I know what you guys are concerned with. You want to see how well 2000 lumens from an SFT-40 will run with that TIR optic against its competition. So if we move these here, we're actually going to pit it up against the FC12 that we used earlier. Now the FC12 is also 2000 lumens with a long smooth reflector with an SFT-40. But I feel like this will give us a good comparison to see how those large TIR optics will affect that throw versus the single smooth reflector that the FC12 has. So let's get these lights outside and do a Wurkkos thrower face-off. All right. All right, guys. So we're outside with the Wurkkos TS11 as well as the Wurkkos FC12. Now the TS11 is an SFT-40, so is the FC12. So I think it's all going to come down now to how well those optics and the actual shape of the reflector are going to throw that beam out there. So without further ado, here we go. For starters, you guys can see all the RGB lights on the TS11. Now we're going to start in moonlight, and I'm going to quickly ramp up. So this is level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and if you double tap it'll go to 8 or turbo. Now this is turbo mode on the TS11. And to compare it, we do have the FC12. We're going to start in moonlight. I'll come up to low, medium, high, and a double tap for turbo. Now you guys tell me what you think about the difference between the reflectors on the TS11 and the FC12. Alright guys, we went out with the Wurkkos TS11 as well as the Wurkkos FC12. Now I want to know what you guys thought about these beam comparisons, and for me I think it was pretty straightforward as to the output. Now with the FC12 you did have that defined hotspot as well as quite a bit of intentional throw, and you will get that with a smooth reflector. However, with this TIR, this was pretty much all hotspot. Now it did bleed off a little bit, but you can tell that it was intentionally designed to get that light out as far as possible. So, touching base on a few things, I just want to say that again, the TS11 is probably one of my new favorite lights. And if I'm speaking from my personal preference, I'm actually not that big of a fan of throwers. So to say that the TS11 is one of my favorites, that's saying quite a bit. I've always been a fan of the Wurkkos brand, and that's not like any fanboy talk or anything like that, but it's just because for the price, you can't beat it. Now, this right now is on the Wurkkos site for $29.99, and that's with the battery. And again, you can save about $1.50 and not get that 18350 cell. So 600 meters of throw, a very cool look, and Anduril 2 UI, as well as all of these fancy RGBs, all for $29.99. I mean, sure, you do have to wait a couple weeks for shipping because it does come from China, but I mean, you can't really go wrong with it. But if you don't want to wait a few weeks for your package to come from China, now just remember you can enter our giveaway, and we're giving away your choice of either the orange or the black TS11. So make sure to get that entry in. So thank you to everyone that has subscribed. I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. Now we want to continue growing so we can keep doing these giveaways, keep doing these reviews for you. But the best way to do that is to hit that like button, hit subscribe, leave a comment down below. That'll help us in the algorithms, and we can keep doing stuff like this. So thank you guys so much. Good luck to whoever wins one of these two TS11s, and we'll see you in the next one.